proceed. Okay, it is recording. So let's get started back to this. Okay. Oh, Ben, no, I couldn't hear you just now. I think I saw your message a while ago. I've only just seen it. We didn't hear you, no. So getting started, yes. Tonight, time blindness, making sense of lost time. So we're going to be looking at what time blindness is, why it happens, why it occurs, common challenges which we may come up against with regards to time blindness, and things like deadlines, transitions, losing hours where we didn't know where they went, where did the time go? Tools, some hacks for tracking time which we can discuss and share, creating neurodivergent friendly routines and boundaries as well within all of that, and hopefully get some ideas from yourselves as well and share some strategies that's worked for you, what has worked, what hasn't worked. So that would be really good. And Ben, I see. I guess you'll have to use the chat, get your typing hands out tonight with regards to that. So what is time blindness? Basically, time blindness is a difficulty in sensing, tracking, estimating the passage of time. For some of us, 5 minutes can feel like 1 minute, or 1 minute can feel like 5 minutes or 30 minutes. It's that inability, that difficulty with being able to really estimate, make sense of it. So like even feel that time is passing, that can be difficult. So we might lose hours, we might miss transitions, we might underestimate how long tasks might take. We may just miss appointments altogether because we've lost track of the time. It's all of those aspects combined. Or you might just have some of these instances which occur for you. It doesn't have to be all of those, but some of those things may come up. And importantly, it's neurological difference in how our brains process time and attention. When the future especially feels abstract and for some of us maybe not real or hard to visualize, planning and pacing them become a lot more difficult. That's all part and parcel of time blindness. So does this description sound familiar with any of you? What does time blindness look like to you? Anyone care to share? Yeah, Yoda, go for it.
Yeah, I think for me with time blindness, when I'm preparing for my radio show, sometimes when I prepare it, I try and like give it a structure, and I always do it during in the morning and afternoon, and leave my evenings to chill. But because say the radio station is on holiday, I know it'll give some time for presenters to just chillax and just have a week's couple of days off. But for me, I try and use up that time to like make a script for my next show and make the next one in advance. And other times where because I know they're on holiday, I try and like keep up the pace. But sometimes, say if I'm watching something late and I wake up late and I think, okay, I'll do it tomorrow, then tomorrow comes, I I didn't do it. I try and make up for the next day. So it's just that continuation of trying to push myself to keep motivated. Even though I know the station is on holiday, I try and keep myself motivated to do it.
I see. But sometimes it can become a bit of a cycle, which you get stuck into. I get that. Ben has shared in the chat there, yes, entirely. I lose track of most days, and I'm blind to how quickly the future can be the present. It's something I really need to control and understand how to make time work for me more. Yeah, it is a lot of that, isn't it? It's like just losing track sometimes and not like some people have come to me and said, I don't even know, sometimes what day it is, or what hours it is now, and the evenings come about and they should be somewhere else. And it's just that inability to, visualize, to grasp time. Luke, as well, you've said in the chat, I've severely underestimated how long things take dozens of times. It was especially frustrating during uni, and I'm worried I won't be able to estimate my own tasks for my project. Right, I see. Yeah, estimation and being able to understand how long things take can be really difficult. And we'll come on to some strategies which I hope will help you in being able to improve that. Trial and errors and things. Ben's just adding there, very easy for me to lose track of time, or how significant things can lose me in a rabbit holes of things that shouldn't need that much time devoted to them. That's another flip side of it. Yeah, thanks for that, Ben, because it's also the things which shouldn't take long. There should be a 5-minute task, and then suddenly you're drawn into 30 minutes, an hour longer. So it's not only about estimation of time, but it's actually about in the moment, how long you're spending on things and realizing that time's flying by. So that was my next question on that slide as well, but I asked it just keeping the other slide up. So you'll often hear that ADHD gets linked a lot with time blindness. It's the most common association in terms of disabilities and neurodiversity. But so like researchers and clinicians describe ADHD as time blindness at its core. It's central to it, and a lot of the other effects you experience if you've got ADHD can be influenced significantly by time. Time is like a central feature in everything you do. It is for a lot of us, but for ADHD, it's even more significant. But it's not only ADHD. As we know, autistic individuals, dyslexia, dyspraxia, they often reported to me in sessions, with students, in the workplace as well. Timing and transition challenges especially. So again, being able to estimate how long is this going to take me? I've got a week until my deadline. These tasks should take me this amount of time, but they've overestimated or underestimated. It's a common feature. And when I say transition challenges, I mean like moving from one thing to another. So knowing that you have lots of other things to do later on, but you've got stuck on that one task and you haven't been able to transition to the next. So two patterns are especially common, especially with ADHD, and it's ones we've come across in previous workshops. Hyperfocus. When something is engaging, you can drop into deep focus for hours and disappear into it because it's really engaging. It's the dopamine hits are there, they're, hooking you in and you don't want to escape it. Or maybe you're just in it so deep into the work or whatever you're focusing on, you don't realize that that's happening and it just whisks you away. And the other thing is the task switching, shifting from one thing to another, which can feel like, moving through, heavy, you're stuck in the mud with it. And then moving on to the next task becomes 10 times more difficult as well. So these things aren't moral failings. It's all to do with the executive function. And it's your executive function doing its best in the moment. So in the moment, great, you can focus, but generally your estimation, your control of the time falls by the wayside. So our aim here is to shape the environments, the routines, so your brain can work more effectively. You can engage in deeper focus whilst also being aware of your surroundings, your timings, what's going on, what needs to happen next, how long things should take. So yeah, I guess throw this one out there again to people. Have you ever come up against an issue where you realized you've been sat there for what feels like 5 minutes, but actually 2 or 3 hours have passed? Has anyone experienced that? How did that feel for them when they realized looking at their watch? Eve, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have that issue where I get lost in like a project and I hyper focus, and then I'm like, oh my god, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I think that sometimes when I'm at that point and I like feel bad or guilty about it, then the kind of all or nothing thinking kicks in, because I think, oh well, I'm gonna feel horrible tomorrow anyway because I haven't slept enough. So does it make a difference if I have like 4 hours sleep or none? And then I just carry on doing whatever I was doing because I'm like, well, I've been hyper focusing now, may as well keep going. And I think, yeah, it's not necessarily like the best, like two things to work together.
Yeah, I see. That's helpful. That's a good insight and explanation of your experience. Thanks. And Yorgos, I'll get to you in a second, but Ben's just put in the chat. Yeah, I tend to get that when trying to repair things. I get very lost on something which is quite small in comparison to stuff I need to do. Yeah. So it's that thing again, isn't it? You get stuck into it, you get lost in it. I like the use of the word lost. Yorgos, yeah, you want to? Yeah.
I don't know if it ties into what this presentation is, but I think with like the hyper focus, the hours vanish without realizing it. I think I fall victim of like when I get on my phone, like I try and do a task and say I'm on TikTok and I see a video, oh, this video is funny, and I just end up doom scrolling through videos, the classic distraction. And I think, oh my god, is that the time already? You know, I should be tidying up my room, I should be doing other things, but yeah, my phone, like phones are distraction anyway, but yeah, I tend to fall victim in that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that is one thing, doom scrolling, isn't it? You can, I mean, I'm a victim of it sometimes as well. You're just there on your phone and suddenly you've been scrolling, watching reels, whatever, and time just flies by and you didn't realize it. It's those things which hook us in, isn't it? That's a good example. Thanks. So why does it happen? Let's understand a little bit more before we sort of move into the more strategies and things like that. So a few sort of ingredients which tend to be behind it all. It's the now versus not now. And for many neurodiverse people, the present is quite vivid. Like it's here, it's in the now. I know what I'm doing now. The future can feel abstract, like I said before. It can feel very uncertain. It can feel harder to process and break down. It feels harder to make sense of. And a second part to it is internal clock differences. So what I mean by that is time can feel too fast or too slow, disrupting how we estimate time. And for everyone, it's going to be very different. I think to put that into perspective a little bit, I think the way I visualize time is probably I've got the picture of a clock or the picture of a week in my head. So for me, I visualize the week as Monday's up here, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, almost like in a circle. I don't know why. That's just the way I've always visualized it. And when I visualize time, I'm thinking I can see the clock face and I can sort of, because I'm so used to hour by hour working, you know, when I meet my students, when I work with individuals in the workplace, hour-long chunks. So I've trained my brain almost, you know, not realizing that I've done that, but I've been trained into this way of, right, I can pretty much estimate time now pretty well. I know how long an hour is. And yeah, it just fits. So, but for some people, it's that inability to see what that looks like, visualize it. And the internal clock is just different for us. Time moves quicker or slower. Then you've got executive function load. So starting, stopping, sequencing, prioritizing, all of these different things which are executive function place a lot of load, a lot of strain on the working memory. And when that becomes overwhelmed, it's harder then to, you know, contemplate time and feed time into it. All right, how long should I be spending on this? Well, I've got other things to be thinking about. My executive function is dealing with other processes. So it's then harder to come back and think about time as well. And then emotions. Emotions can really distort time. And I think this is a significant factor which we should all consider, because when we're stressed, when we're anxious, time feels different. I think so anyway. Does anyone agree with me on that? When we're feeling in different emotional states, do we realize that time goes quicker, slower? I think for me, when I feel stressed, it probably goes slower. What do people think? Anyone care to share? Yeah, go for it, Yorgo.
I think sometimes both. Like when I'm very active, I feel like time goes really, really fast. But when I'm feeling low, I do feel like time goes, to quote Madonna, time goes by so slowly. And so yeah, I think a bit of both.
Okay, interesting. And Ben says, yes, 100%. I feel like when I'm annoyed and the day is just a write-off, it tends to go 10 times slower. Yeah, I think I agree with you on that one. So yeah, stress, anxiety, if we're feeling unwell, things all distort time, don't they? Then it makes it even harder to estimate time if we're in those states regularly. Also, you've got something called flow states. So what I mean by that is being in the zone, completely absorbed by something. Yorgos, you mentioned about doom scrolling, but it could be hyper focusing on work and getting stuck into it, like Eve was explaining. These things are also can be considered like a bit of an emotional state that we're in. When we're in a flow state, it's harder to navigate time and even contemplate it in those situations. So, we may have really good intentions and it doesn't always translate into the actions which we're intending to be on time. So what we need to do is respect those realities and build compensations. So which we'll come on to a bit about visual timers, buffers, a bit of buffer time before and after tasks. So we've got a build up into the task and we've given ourselves a 10-minute barrier so we don't become late. Planning backwards, which I'll come on to and show you in a minute as well. But all of these things hopefully will help. But it's good to understand where this all comes from and why it happens. So yeah, and just to put into context some of the challenges in daily life, what this can lead to, like the missed deadlines, the lateness, poor scheduling. In terms of studying, if you're studying, underestimating the tasks at hand and having the last minute panic because you realize actually they wanted 3,000 words, they didn't want 1,000 words. And then it's right, all hands on deck. Relationships, it can, have an impact on that. Lateness may be seen or interpreted as you not being very caring, you're not caring about their time. But as we know, you've got the good intention there. It's to do with the time blindness aspect. And it could affect home routines like chores, meals. Maybe they become disrupted. Maybe you're eating later than intended because you just didn't realize the time's gone by and it's now midnight and it's not an ideal time to eat before you should be sleeping. So we can see how these things filter in and, affect us in everyday life. In terms of, how it impacts us mentally and emotionally, some of these factors may resonate with you as well. If it's consistent and you're consistently late for things, you're consistently missing things, maybe there's a bit of guilt and shame for that. Maybe it's frustration. Why can't I just be on time? Why can't I just see the time effectively and be on top of it? And a lot of people, again, this is others' interpretations, sometimes misunderstand it as laziness. And we know that's not the case. We know the neurological aspects involved. We've gone over those. Those are the reasons why that's happening. So we need to build cycles away from stress avoidance and more lateness and towards structure. So let's have a little look. I'll just pull up my slide for strategies. So externalizing time. This is a really important one and I think can really help. And it's what I was talking a little bit about before, visualizing time. How can we visualize it better? So using analog clocks to see time moving, placing clocks in place. You might look a bit mad having clocks all over the place, but it helps to have a clock in every room, because you may go to your bedroom, have a clock there, great, you've got your alarm clock. You may pop into the living room, maybe there isn't a visible clock there. Suddenly, no tracking of time. I know you might have your phone, but maybe if your phone's a distraction, you might have put that away. Make time visible. Make it something you can keep track of and train yourself to look at regularly. And wearing a watch is another useful thing, because you can set little buzzers and alarms, which, some of them are designed to sort of remind you. A little buzz on the arm. It's that sensory thing, isn't it? As a reminder. Don't rely on your phone, because our phones are in our pockets, tucked away, the screen's off. We're not going to see the time. We need to see it. So visual timers, you can also put stopwatches, and alarms which ring at certain times. This is really important because it allows us to, like I say, externalize the time. So it's a factor, it's there, it's present, and it's not somewhere hidden. Okay. And again, a bit more on alarms and timers and how we can set those up. Use multiple alarms. A single alarm is going to be easy to miss or snooze and switch off, isn't it? But try stacking your alarms. So have a 30-minute alarm, which is kind of like a longer warning. Have a 10-minute one, a medium warning. Have a 5-minute one. Have regular ones. Set them up, especially for tasks which are long-winded, which especially for things which you often get absorbed in. If you're doom scrolling, watching Netflix series and you get stuck into it, put the alarm on before you even start and set them. So you're not binge watching, doom scrolling, losing time. If it's to do with work, it's a great feature to build into your study, because you should be taking breaks. It's a healthy thing to do. I know for some of you who really get on well and hyper focus and get so much done, it's good because you got it all out of the way, but it's the after effects which often impact us the worst, because we put a 4-hour shift in without stopping, we haven't eaten, we haven't rested, we're going to feel worse for wear for a good day afterwards, perhaps, especially if we've done an all-nighter. So that's really important. And make it a bit more, what they call it sometimes is haptic. Make it a bit more sensory. Add tones to things, tones which may mean different things on alarms. Add, if you're wearing a smartwatch, sensory aspects, get it to vibrate, get it to buzz, because your brain then, it might tune out the visual aspects, but it won't tune out the sensory feeling aspects. So you've got a backup, if you like. And pair alarms with visual cues like sticky notes on a door. So you set an alarm on your phone, write a sticky note as well, double up, back yourself up, do the above and beyond. And for recurring transitions as well, like bedtime, logging off, use importantly calendar reminders, smartwatch buzzes, sticky notes to influence this habit of good sleep hygiene. Because one of the factors to, again, things like time blindness is if we're not feeling 100%, if we're absolutely exhausted because we've not slept well, we haven't eaten well, that's also going to impact us, like the emotional impact I was explaining before. So we want to be at our best, at our optimum, and that's the best way to set things up. And if you remember back to things like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we need that bottom layer of the pyramid to really work for us in order to do all the structural things and the active things above it. So is that making sense to people so far? Does anyone use alarms, sticky notes, some of the things I've described, and is it effective for them? Yeah, you ought to go.
Yeah, so I use an app called Structure, and it's basically an app. I said this to the group, couple of group meetings ago. It's a great app I used. It's you either pay for it monthly or you could pay for one-off. I pay for one-off because I really love the feature. I love how I could plan my days. So you put in a calendar and you put in like from 10 to 11, I'll do the dishes. From 11 to 12, I'll go out for a walk. And I've not been on it as much recently, but I'll try and keep it up because it really is a fantastic app, and
Mhm.
it really helped me, planning my days,
Mm.
making my own stuff, looking for jobs, X, Y, and Z.
Mhm. Excellent.
And I've also got a to-do list app, so that also helps as well.
Excellent. Yeah, please share them. That would be great. Ben has put in the chat, yes, I use alarms for important stuff. Like when I have had important letters to respond to, I usually never reply ASAP. So reminders prompt me to respond in reasonable time frame. Yeah, good example. Especially for the really urgent things you cannot miss, then it's a good backup to have, isn't it? At least you've got some alarms, reminders to pop up. Anyone else? Does anyone find alarms not helpful as well? Oh, Eve, yeah. Go on, sorry.
Oh, sorry, no, it wasn't about alarms. I think I got distracted with Yorgos talking about like apps. So it was an app thing. It's okay. I'll just leave it.
Oh, right. I see. Yeah, that's okay. But does anyone not find alarms helpful? Because I know some people don't get on too well with alarms, or they just keep dismissing the alarm and it doesn't work for them. Please share if you feel that way. Eve, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, back again. Like, it was relevant in the end. I was gonna say, yeah,
Okay.
I have that problem with like, I don't know if it's because I have quite bad like demand avoidance, but even if it's like me who set the task for myself, if something pops up and it's like, oh, you have to do this now, I just have this like, I don't know how to describe it. I feel like or
Mhm.
all locked in and it's stressed and like I don't want to do it. So I find that apps that allow you to very easily move tasks around are more helpful. Like I use Notion
Mm.
for to-do lists because I can
Oh
still
yeah.
plan out what times I want to do things, but it's not like really fixed, and it lets you really easily just slide the task like further down
Mm.
the list or even to the next
Yeah.
day. And that works better for me having structure, but then
Mm.
like freedom within that structure, it feels less suffocating.
Mhm. That's a good example. Yeah, Notion is a good one that Eve mentioned there. That's a really good app. I think you can get a free version of it as well. So you're right, you can slide and move things around a lot easier. That's a good point, being able to maneuver things in an easy way. And, if we underestimate or overestimate time, it's easy to sort of visually move it on a calendar or something. Luke's mentioning in the chat there about my problems with alarms is I ignore them. I could be aware of the time, but I underestimate how long the thing I'm doing will take, and it ends up taking longer than I thought. Hyper-focus because I feel I forget what I was doing when I return to it. Okay, so yeah, the importance there of Luke, give it a try. Different types of alarms. Don't rely on one type. Try haptic ones, things which buzz, alarms which play, alarms which flash up. If you have to get your TV on a timer to switch on, do that. And sticky notes, especially because you mentioned about forgetting where you sort of finished and where you need to start off. At the end of every task you complete, always write a note to self where you stopped, because the hardest thing is getting back into the flow again. And if you've left yourself a note to self, right, I ended on this point, it was 1 a.m. The next thing I planned to do at this point was this, this, and this. I need to start here. You're leaving yourself a much easier way in. But yeah, Luke, try the different mixing up. The more alarms, the more types of alarm and haptic style things, the sensory stuff, the more chance you won't ignore it. And some of these things may help too, because some people like the more tactile approaches. So, okay, digital again, Google Calendar, apps like Structured, like Yorgos said, you preempted me, and in Flow. And also paper planners can work just as well if you prefer writing things down on paper. Whiteboards are really good because, like Eve was saying, being able to maneuver things and change things. There's nothing more annoying than writing a whole plan out and then it changes and you have to rub it out or cross it out or start again. So, I mean, I use whiteboards quite a lot because of that reason. Things change in my diary, and I like to have a whiteboard And I like to have the digital Google Calendar at the same time. So I've got a backup. If one fails, I know what else I can go to just in case. So using those things are effective, or can be effective if you try them out. And if it's not written down, it doesn't exist, does it? We can easily forget it. If it's written down, it becomes something that exists and it's there. It's something we'll hopefully look at. It'll be a reminder. So we need to put these sticky notes somewhere visible, or have a notepad which we write everything in and date it, so we know we can find it by date and time. Yes, Roman.
I wanted to throw in my 2 cents. I do apologize if there's any noise. I'm outside by a road.
That's right.
But I actually use a kind of hybridization of systems where for work, I have it all on my laptop. I've got a to-do list. It refreshes each week, so it's blank. And I copy and paste everything from the week before, and I just remove the things I've ticked off. It allows me that running list while also not feeling overwhelmed. But also, I have gone really old school with a day per page planner for home things, because I don't want it to be always on my mind when I'm at work. So when I realize that my mind's wandered, or like when I'm focusing on home stuff, I open this planner out, I write a little checklist, to-do list thing, and then I can close the book, and it lets me look at the day before as, oh, what haven't I done for quite a while? Provided I don't approach it with shame for having not done things, it's a really good way of tracking and also remembering, provided I remember to open up the book when I get home. But at the very least, when I get back into work the next day, the evidence is there, and I can tick it off when I go into work and continue on. It's a decent cycle, provided I use the system. Thank you. I just wanted to throw it out.
Yeah, that's really a really good insight there, Rowan. Yeah, and the type of planner that it is, you said a home sort of planner, is that just one you can pick up off of Amazon or something like that?
Oh yeah, straight off Amazon. I went via Collins because I wanted like the old school leather feel, but I went for the day per page because I wanted it to be one where I can address it per page.
Yeah.
Otherwise, per week, I'd find that too much when looking at my day-to-day jobs. But yeah,
that's really nice. Yeah, good. Yeah, I like the way you sort of gone for a more like a better style one, like a Collins one, leather bound, because that also brings something like some sense of importance to it as well. If it's just a few bits of paper chucked around the place, maybe that doesn't feel as important as something, like a leather bound planner. Maybe you'd be more compelled to use it as well if it's nicer to write in and looks nicer. So that's another thing. And Luke was saying, just going back to your point, Luke, you didn't mean that you ignore and let it ring, but you know what you're doing. You're fully aware. You turn off the alarm, and just you forget about it. I get that too. So that's why it's important to have other avenues, things which are going to annoy you and keep reminding you and make it hard for you to get up and go and turn it off, or those sorts of things. Yorgos is just asking about the journal. So yeah, Rowan, I'll let you answer that one. I think it's for you, Rowan.
I'll put it in the chat.
Go on. Thank you. Yeah, so and daily reviews. So like Rowan's saying, Rowan looks at things day by day. Break it down to what makes most sense for you. Morning and night check-ins are good because you can make sense of the whole day then. You can say, what were my intentions in the morning? What did I plan to do? How much stuff did I get in there? Night check-ins, did I achieve what I wanted to achieve? What's ticked off? What needs to go on to the next day, or what didn't get achieved? What still needs doing? If you do that and get into a habit of doing those sorts of things, your time management and your awareness of time should improve. So give that a try, practice these things. And another little strategy I thought was interesting was backward planning, buffering time. So work backwards from the finish sometimes. So let's just say you've got a meeting at 3:30. So what do we need to do? If we're planning backwards, we've got to arrive in good time 5 minutes before. So arrive 3:25. That means, therefore, I'm about 10 minutes from the location. I want to leave myself a bit of buffer time to get there in good time. I'll leave at 3 in case of traffic, etc. Now, before that, what do I need with me? Well, I need to pack my stuff. I need to take a notepad. I need to take something to write with. Maybe I take my backpack. So I need to pack. How long does that normally take me? Well, it should take me about 10 minutes. So at 2:50, 2:30, I should be getting ready and prepped. So think of tasks sometimes in the opposite direction can help you better visualize how long things are going to take. So yeah, and then if you need to add more buffers in place, do so. Like I said, traffic can be an issue. So 10 to 15 minutes, maybe that's a rule of thumb. Any buffer I put in, I'll always add an extra 10 minutes just to compensate and make sure, in case I forget about the time, and in case something comes up and distracts me, in case I get stuck in traffic or lose my way. Overestimation is good where possible. And yeah, just be really strict with yourself with it. Initially, try a rigid routine first and then scale it back a bit, or do it the other way. Start more loosely, build in backwards thinking, and then get more strict if you're still missing things and you're still like underestimating the time. Add longer buffers in. But this is a very much trial and error approach to doing things. But I've found that it does work with a lot of people. Just thinking about things. What's the end point? Where do I need to get to? And what do I need to do? What are the steps before that? Let's break them down. And this is the things you do in the morning or in reflection on the evening for the next day. Plan these things out with good time. And yeah, time estimation training. So train your inner clock. Before a task, guess the duration and then time it. Actually, think about specifically doing that as a routine and as a task, let's say, as an activity. That was the word I was looking for. Set yourself a little activity. I've got this work to do. It's not urgent. I don't have to worry about getting it in at midnight. It's something I can practice with. Choose something where you can practice time with. Guess the duration in advance. Time it. And I know, time's a piece of as long as a piece of string, isn't it? Sometimes you're going to be on form and you're going to get it done really quickly. Other times not. But especially for consistent tasks which you do regularly, let's say it's cooking, let's say it's, I don't know, answering your emails. Again, I know that is hard to manage in terms of each time it could be different, depending on how many emails you've got to send, depending on how big the meal is you're cooking. But always time it. Things like that, because it gives you a sense of time first and foremost. It lets you know, right, it took roughly half an hour. On average, out of the 5 times I've cooked this week, it's taken me in the end 35 minutes. At least you've got a nice, better rounded figure to work with going forwards. Apply that to other things. Like I say, sending emails, some are going to be longer than others, but on general consensus, it's going to take me about 20 minutes. So I build that in to my future calendars, knowing 20 minutes should be enough. If I need to buffer it, I'll take it to 30 minutes. So you've really got to train things in to make these sorts of things work in the long term. They're not going to work immediately. It takes practice. And then build like a time reality list, if I can call it that. Common tasks, like I said, and their true durations. So it could be things which are even more obviously going to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Build that list and build the list which have things on it which are less kind of easy to time. or know the time for. So that can help you sort of plan in the future again. And you kind of develop a bit of a diary, a bit of a dictionary of, right, this thing usually takes that long. This thing in these circumstances can take that long. So I'll estimate a bit more. And writing it all down is really key, because to try and remember all of this, very difficult. And I think that going back to my example of myself, when I plan my time and my hours and I schedule things, and I've gotten used to 1 hour blocks of time because that's how long I run meetings for. Think about the amount of time that took me to develop into a system which worked. Wasn't overnight. It was probably years until I got into the routine. I started with paper-based planners, and I thought, this isn't efficient for me. I need to double it up. So I've got paper, Google. I can't go wrong if one system goes down, like I said. But I trained my brain to know, right, an hour is taking about this time. So I know I need to plan this about 15 minutes before the end in order to finish on time. It's not a perfect science, but it does work if you put the effort in and time, ironically time, to train yourself towards it. So it just trains your estimation abilities. And then we've got the very common time management techniques, which for a lot of people work, for others don't, but Pomodoro, 25 minutes of solid working and 5-minute breaks, or you can adjust those times as much as you like. But how many Pomodoros can you fit in to a session of work or to a day? Depends on how you look at your time. Time blocking, which we talked about on previous workshops. Brain dump all of the tasks which are on your mind, put them on paper, get them down on a list, and then assign priority to them. What is urgent out of that list? What is less urgent? What is not so urgent? I don't need to worry about it now. And then assign times to it. Okay, I should do the urgent one tomorrow. I need to build in a time slot for it. And then if you look back at the previous slides I've gone over with you, start putting those strategies into practice. Have I got it on our calendar? Have I set up an alarm for it? Have I written a sticky note for that meeting or whatever it is? So these things can help you scaffold and structure the nitty-gritty of time management and visualizing, estimating time. So yeah, and transition rituals, like maybe you put the same ambient music on every time it's time to wind down for bed, or every breakfast time. Maybe it's a get up and go type of music. Maybe you turn it on because that gets your mind into the right frame. And obviously, yeah, have a cup of tea, stretch, do all the things which put you in a good position to, in a good mindset, to then go and plan and then be more attentive to the time. So, and maybe you even attach times to songs, because, you know, if a song lasts 7 minutes or something, you know, right, I usually put that song on every morning. It takes about 7 minutes. When that song finishes, I should be like, you know, getting on with other stuff and moving on. But so far, do any of these things resonate, these strategies? Have people tried any of this stuff? Will anyone give those things a go? What are people's thoughts? Has anyone tried some of these?
Forgive me for jumping in again.
That's right.
This touch, I organically came across this via a YouTube channel called PBS Idea Channel, which talked about different writers and their process. And one of them woke up at 5 a.m., the other one at 11 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
But each one of them still had a morning routine, and it discussed the concept of having that ritual, having that routine in order to get your head into the space. And I found that I've been working certain jobs which had me waking up super early, I came to a routine both ways. I was recognizing I was showing up to work 5-10 minutes late quite regularly. And I also recognized that, and then I was also thinking, oh, well, if I'm doing all of this, this is taking me approximately this long. So if I woke up at this time a little bit earlier, Or if I actually did this, this, and this the night before, like breakfast, have it in the car as a sandwich, coffee already made the night before, like I could get up and be in the car within 20 minutes. And it was working at it from both sides of like, okay, well, if it takes this much time at the moment, I need to wake up at this time. But if my morning cannot get any shorter, doing both really helped me, as well as really listing out what I do with it. Thank you.
That's really good, Rowan. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. So yeah, you sort of developed some really useful rituals, and then you began to adapt them to your scenario and, you know, the type of days that you're going to be having, depending on work, etc. So yeah, and as we know, things change, don't they? So we may be studying for a few years and we get into a routine, we get into a more common structure, and know what to expect a bit more. So we're attending lectures, things like that. If we go and graduate and we're looking for jobs, that stuff sort of goes by the wayside because we don't have those pillars anymore. We don't have the lectures. So when transitions in life happen, we've also got to try and pick up the tools and strategies that have worked for us in those scenarios and try and implant them again in our new environments, in our new situations. It's hard to do, but you've got muscle memory. Our brains are like a muscle. So if you practice them again and again, repeatedly, remind yourself that they're there, it's always going to help and support and give you that scaffolding, that structure you need to then time manage and visualize time much better. And Ben's just writing in the chat as well. Oh, sorry, there's a few things in the chat here. Yorgos said, yeah, sometimes when I'm filling in a schedule, I include a 15-minute break or an hour lunch break. I also listen to music as well to keep me going. Sometimes when I'm working, I always need background noise. Yeah, that's interesting. Some people love to have some form of background noise, even if it's nothing specific like music. I think I get on a bit better with a bit of background noise as well, or ambient sort of music. And Ben was saying, I think time can slip away so easily. I think part of my issue is the social pressure of time passing and my inability to waste time. So I'm very conscious of how the concept of time is elusive and arbitrary. My time seems to go fast a lot. Yeah, I like the way you sort of, in your English literature style there, almost poetic there, Ben, with your description. Yeah, it's true, absolutely what you're saying. And why I compel you to try some of these things out and really give it a go. And just pick one thing. If I know I've thrown a lot at you tonight, lots of strategies, but start small, try one thing, the alarms, the sticky notes, whatever it might be, begin to filter them into your setup, your system, and hopefully you'll start to see results. Other core things which I always kind of share on these, which are important: reducing clutter, clearing, having the ability to have a good workspace and a clearer visual space means you can think more clearly about the routines that you need to build in and your time management. There's nothing worse if everything around you is a mess, your desk's a mess. Much harder to focus in on planning, time management. The clutter annoys you as well. I mean, I get that. Sometimes things inevitably pile up, don't they? But clearing it means I also feel like I've got clear headspace to focus and think. Color coding, that can be useful. Having see-through containers as well, as crazy as that might sound, but having things which are visibly there, which you know you need to deal with, as opposed to locked away in boxes or in the cupboard, might just be, again, something which triggers you to that pile of stuff is there. It's visible in that see-through drawer. I need to get on with that, as opposed to you're not actually going to see it if it's locked away somewhere. So a lot of links to like vision and visually and sensory with tonight's session, I suppose, because it all factors in, it all filters through out time management and being able to understand and feel time. So yeah, minimizing distractions, all the usual things. Some of the apps Yorgo shared with us tonight and in the past would help with that too. And self-advocacy and support. So time blindness, like we say, it doesn't mean carelessness. It doesn't translate to that we really care about, being on time. It's a factor of being able to scaffold and structure towards visualizing time better. But share with tutors, with managers, with friends, your situations, because you're putting it out there, you're externalizing it again. Like we said, the alarms, the sticky notes, the clocks, having clocks visual, externalizes it and puts it out there. And if you're talking to people about it as well, in the group, on these calls, in one-to-ones, again, you're almost providing some form of accountability for yourself by doing so. And it's there. It's with someone. You've told them that you need to be there at that time. Maybe they hold you accountable to it. But even just talking about it and saying, I've got to do these things, can compel your brain to structure towards doing them and on time. Eve has put in the chat, I was thinking about this just in response to Ben. The way talk about time in English can be stressful because it makes it seem like it's a scarce commodity, like time is running away from it. Yeah, absolutely true, isn't it? But the world revolves around time, doesn't it? The Western world. It's a 9-to-5, 37-hour week setup, isn't it? It's hard to escape it. But if we can control it, especially on our own situations, our own worlds, then we can become really powerful in terms of what we achieve. So, has anyone got any questions? Because for once, my time blindness isn't a barrier here because I've finishing on time. I'm not going over. Anyone got any questions or anything you wanted to add or share with the group? Yeah, Jorgo?
So with the apps I'm already using, like Structured and other to-do list apps, you mentioned an app called what's it called? Pomodoro?
Oh, Pomodoro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was looking into that and it looked really, really good. But in your personal opinion, should I even though I've already got, because it's basically like Structured, but is it worth downloading both and test them out, planning stuff ahead, at the same time, or because I'm doing well on one app, should I not download it because I'm already doing well on the other one? Or what do you think?
Yeah, well, okay. Pomodoro, first of all, it's more about the focused, specific individual tasks that you're doing. So if it's something quite, it's going to take you a few hours and it's an individual task, Pomodoro can be good. But I think because you've said that you get on well with Structured and that is working for you, then I'd say try to avoid cluttering too many things in one go. I know I've thrown a lot of things at you, and I've said these different strategies could work, and putting more alarms and doing the extra things and doubling up on things can definitely help. But in terms of using apps and systems which kind of do the same thing, try to declutter. Use a streamlined system that works for you and works. For me, it's Google Calendar and the kind of Google suite. I've always sort of stuck to that and I don't veer from it. I've got Outlook, I've got those emails, but I don't use the calendar there or the tasks there because it doesn't feel as useful to me as Google. So it's a choice you make. Yeah.
One more question. Is it also worth when you're planning stuff ahead, is it better planning it in a diary or planning your phone or a bit of both? What's your preference on that?
I suppose it comes down to personal preference. Do you find writing things down more tactile, more something that you would remember more because you're actively writing? Or do you do well having it visually on a phone because you can pick it up and take it anywhere?
Well, I always write stuff on my phone because if I set a notification comes up saying, you need to do this by a certain time. But I always forget putting in my reminders on my phone. and I thought, I could try and write in it in the journal, but like I am, like, since Ronan brought it up, I am interested in trying to write things down,
Yeah.
and it'll be there. It won't get deleted the next day. But I'm the type of person that would like do something and always forgets to do it. So that's another of my weak spots is planning ahead and forget to do it.
I see. Yeah. I think it can help. If you write things down, it triggers your brain into actually writing. And it's like when you do revision at university or school, you have to write things out. You have to repeat things. So by writing things out, even if it becomes a bit of a repetitive task with planning, you're instantly telling your brain, right, I've written that down. I haven't just typed it on an app or voice noted it on an app. So I would, with things like that, I would double up. I would do some of it on your phone and write things down and do the planning morning, evenings, as much as you can. Write that in a journal like Rowan's, leather bound stuff, whatever you like, whatever suits you, something which feels good to write in. And I think it can help. All right.
Thank you.
No problem. Anyone else? Oh, Ben's written in the chat. Oh yeah, go on, Rowan. Yeah.
I'll only be 30 seconds. One thing that I find interesting is I do use a truly hybrid approach in terms of, similar to the adage, the best camera is the one you have to hand. The best planner is the one that you go to most. Because I've had a number of different apps, none of them have worked. At home, I have a whiteboard. I sit down with my partner. We go over the to-do list for the week or the month, and it's something I'll be going to regularly because it's in the office, it's wide out in the open. But when I'm at work, I'm always in front of my laptop. And I've always got, because I use multiple screens, I've always got my week view of my Outlook calendar and my month view. And what that lets me do is view what's happening in the day and, across the week. But also something that I'm very susceptible to is blindness of the mid-future of what's coming up. And that has really been endlessly helpful. And I just wanted to let you know, because it really is, what will you have on hand? Because when I'm at home, I'll have my notebook. When I'm at work, I will have my laptop. So it depends on what you do in your university studies, especially. Are you going to be at a desk and regularly writing things down with books in front of you, or are you only ever going to be on your laptop? Is that the thing that will be most in your hand? I didn't realize how vital that was until this conversation. Thank you.
Right. Amazing point. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Do the thing which is going to be easiest to do in the situation that you're in. You're right. If you've got the notebook to hand and it's in front of you, use that to good effect. And the thing you mentioned about having the calendars up and they're always kind of visual on a screen, you put it in front of yourself. You're externalizing time because you can see it. You're not relying just on your memory to deal with it. That's a really good point. Thanks, Rowan. Eve, yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna quickly add that if anyone else likes reading about different languages and cultures and religions, I found it really helpful to read about other understandings of time and stuff, because I think especially when the future and time can feel so abstract, and maybe we don't have that words in our language to actually speak about something that we're feeling. But then there's some languages that think the future doesn't exist because we're not the ones moving forward into the time, but time's coming backwards towards us in the present. And I always do the thing you were talking about, the backwards planning. That's the only way that I ever arrive anywhere on time. And then when I started thinking about it, I don't know, it just helped me understand my lived experience and the way I experience time a lot more. Obviously you still have to live in your reality. I can't say, oh, I'm late for work because I was running on Ubuntu tribe time. But it was quite helpful to just have some grounding and some ideas, something I felt.
That's really interesting. Yeah, Eve, have you got any? You could share some examples of, like, I don't know if you know any useful texts where they talk about different cultures and time. That would be helpful, I think, to see different perspectives.
Yeah, I'll put in the group chat on WhatsApp. Like it's mainly people
Yeah.
that do like the explainer videos on Instagram and things. I'll see if I
Okay.
can find some.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks. Yeah, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, time in different cultures can mean very different things. It's good to maybe understand it and visualize it from that perspective too. And yeah, just going back to Ben, because you mentioned in the chat there about how yeah, time reality list, which I mentioned. So yeah, and trying to chisel that down and get towards something that is more feasible, that is more manageable. And like we say, it takes practice. So if you can start doing that, Ben, and then come back to me and say you managed to like quantify your time a lot better, that would be awesome. But yeah, any other thoughts then before I let you all go? I hope it's been useful. I've just popped the feedback form link on screen, but I've also just put it into the chat. So as always, any feedback is really helpful. Just take a minute to fill that in for me. And remember, I've got the body doubling workshops and the new thread on WhatsApp. So if you want to come try out one of those sessions, vote weekly which day suits you best, and we'll go with the most popular day where possible, or a couple of days if there's a lot of interest. But I will stop the recording now. So